It's Monday. Is it Monday? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's Monday. So sick of this racist crap. This racist crap. This racist crap. I'm happy where I am, where everybody's miserable. I know how to do radio, 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 radio. So sick of this racist crap. This racist crap. This racist crap. So sick of this racist crap. This racist crap. This racist crap.
Well, if you tuned in to Pat's show, you might understand the origin of that tune. There's a follow-up, so stay tuned to the end. I think the ending one's actually better. But anyway, all inspired by the words of Greg Opie Hughes. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it took a while to put that together. Boy, I worked so hard on it. I hope you appreciate it. I had to actually punch in the words and then hit the create button. And then the AI did what it was going to do. Well, anyway, I'm going to draw a couple of ladies from a story that we talked about last night, revisiting the horrible murders of, murder. I think only, no, was it? I'm already forgetting. Well, she killed her kids, or tried to kill both kids. I think there were three in all, but I mean, there was two at the time. And one of them did die. And she's a really horrible, evil person. But she was interviewed by this local reporter. And, she caught my eye. Pat opined that her hairstyle was that of Duran Duran. And, it was a pretty good call. Now, it was of the era. So it did happen. But later, I was looking up images because I thought, hey, I could do a drawing of Diane Downs. And I found a good one, I think, really speaks to her inner soul. But for the reporter talking to her, I found another picture of her. And, oh, my God, she's beautiful. And so, I got to draw that too. So that's hence the title. We're going to do a little doodle about Anne and Diane, two young ladies talking about murder. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to draw their faces, and then I think I'll draw on a separate page some poses figuratively, and then I'm thinking the faces can be in Photoshop fit onto the smaller image for more accuracy. I do that on occasion. Yes. So anyway, might as well get started. Why sit here staring at my hand doing nothing, All right, there. We'll do Anne first. Because, oh my God, I'm all taken with Anne. So she got the interview. I'm already forgetting what town this was and all that type of stuff. But obviously a shocking crime, you know. I mean, of all the people to be murdered by, your mother, you know, you really don't see that coming. Well, I mean, in some cases, some people might have, you know, depending on the situation. But in this case, no, the kids really, they didn't. They were very young. And so just awful, you know. And she made up some idiot story about some scruffy haired guy with stubble or whatever. It was really stupid. And right off the bat, most people didn't believe it. Um, and but in the interview, it's just really just a bizarre display of a sociopath, you know, and she did herself no favors in it. I mean, a couple of times where she's describing the killing, she's like struggling not to laugh, you know, and it's like, good Lord. Susan Smith is a similar case that happened, you know, later. And there's similarities, you know. It's like, well, the kids are getting in the way of me getting a new man and all this type of stuff. And of course, made up an imaginary assailant. In Susan Smith's case, she said it was a black guy. Well, at least Diane didn't do that, huh? But anyway, and you know, all her idiot interviews and what a piece of crap she was. But I gotta say, they're both evil, of course. But Diane, I mean, she's like her own version of evil. It's just, even now, still stunning to watch that display of just pure evil. And poor Anne here, you know, she had to do the interview, but she kept her cool. You know, it was all very professional and rather stoic and everything. And of course, the camera goes back to her, and she does the typical obligatory nodding that reporters do, no matter who they're interviewing. You know, it could be a dignitary or a celebrity, actor, rock star, something like that, and a cold-blooded murderer who killed their own children, and that sort of thing. And of course, you always get these shots where they go back and you, yeah, that kind of thing. And she, you know, she did a good job. She got this story, and I don't know. It's probably like the story of her career or whatever. And so as I was looking for the images and I came across hers, I guess she was like their go-to gal for the overall story. It was like, this is mine, so nobody else gets it, you know. And so she landed that one and got that chilling interview with this, you know, evil bitch. You know, just holy crap. It's just one of those things, you know. Sometimes, hey, life can toss you a few curveballs, and you didn't quite know how it was going to go, and it hits you hard, and you make a lot of stupid mistakes and all this sort of stuff. But there's really no way to argue about, you know, well, a certain set of circumstances led me to murdering my child. Yeah, that's just, you're never going to really get there to talk your way out of it or anything like that. Not that she did. I mean, I don't think she ever said, all right, yeah, I screwed up, I did it, anything like that, you know. No. She says, you know, the boogeyman did it. And why aren't the police looking for the boogeyman, you know? But no, as far as she's concerned, boogeyman's still at large. It's like OJ when he was searching all those golf courses for the real killer of Nicole and the waiter. Yeah, he never did. He never did find them, and he died before he could. Sometimes it goes that way. So anyway, that was the deal. Uh, with the, I guess she's still alive, serving her life sentence. Maybe Biden will pardon her. He pardoned quite a few monsters. Because that's the kind of guy he is. Plus, some of the Chinese spies he pardoned, he had to do that because, well, that's what the boss wanted. So you can understand why something like that happens. But anyway, that was the story of Anne and Diane. And that's the kind of thing, unless you're constantly getting big stories or anything, Anne didn't get a bigger deal, have to go to LA or New York and become a big star for, I don't know, one of the network news programs and that kind of thing. None of that happened. Because other than that, she'll always be the one who talked to that murderous bitch. But somebody had to do it. Well, Anne did. So there you go, Anne. You talked to that monster, so we didn't have to. And we'll just have to appreciate it. And now that I'm all smitten, I appreciate it even more. And, well, the Duran Duran hairstyle, it was the 80s. A lot of people did stupid things when you're young, you you get ridiculous haircuts and all that, So I forgive her. Meanwhile, Diane had a similar haircut. And yeah, of all the ways that a lot of times when you look at these interviews with these murderers, and the arrogance comes through and everything, they don't really do themselves any favors, which of course is one of the main pieces of advice that a defense counsel will give you is shut up. Usually this is in reference to the police. You don't have to talk to them. It's your Fifth Amendment. You have the right to remain silent. That's why they tell you, hey, anything you say, we'll use it, and they will. And so you're better off just not saying anything. Now, one of the ways to get around that is that, well, we're gonna hold you. You're gonna go sit in the can, and all that sort of stuff. And it could be a while before the attorney gets there, and all that sort of thing. So a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to go in there, and they think they're going to talk their way out of this, and sometimes even if you're not the guy, you didn't do it, you're going to screw up, you get all flustered. Oh yeah, it's you. No, it isn't. And then, I don't know, 20 years later, oh yeah, it wasn't you. Well, how about that? My bad, but in a way, wasn't it your bad? Because you wouldn't shut up. So, but Diane decided, hey, I got to give my side of the story. Because I guess she thought she was going to beat this. And, hey, her reputation's on the line here. So she's got to, get her story out there so that people will understand, hey, the boogeyman did it. And so people are like, oh, my God, this poor woman, the authorities or society is putting her in this position. It's so terrible. what society does to women. And when they won't believe that the boogeyman framed her for a crime that actually boogeyman committed, you know. But patriarchal society, they didn't believe it, so she went up the river. So of course it doesn't help to be doing an interview and describing the murder of your child and having to hold back a chuckle or two, you know. But oh boy, I mean, that's one of those things where you probably, oh man, if there really was a do-over, but alas, there isn't. And in her case, her do-over would be, she'd want another shot at coming up with a better story that might be more believable. Oh, you thought for the incident to have never happened? No, she doesn't care about that. So here we go. This really seals the deal. I mean, laughter, it was typically the only real emotion that she expressed during it. There was no, breaking down and, I'll never see them again and all this. She kept going, oh, I'll see them again. We're going to be together forever in heaven and all that sort of stuff. But he's like, hey, what's the big deal? I don't think she'll be going to heaven. But anyway, so yeah, she was never all that upset. She was upset at, her husband and all that, and men in general, that kind of thing. But not so much the actual murder of her children. So that would be part of the do-over. Damn, yeah, I should have acted more upset about that part. That's probably where I messed up. Yeah. I'm gonna have to just sort of exaggerate this. I'm not really capturing it. Yeah. Anne and Diane. They both have Anne in the name. It's very different. Because Diane, well, it's all about other people dying, mostly her kids. Yeah, we're doing exaggeration here. Exaggerations tend to get to the real truth. There she is. When you draw people, you capture their soul. That way, I don't have to sell my own. Okay, here we go. Boy, it's always the evil ones that are hard to do. You see how the pretty girl, I just went right to it. No, that was fine. Yeah, sometimes I'll screw that up too. Get all flustered and nervous. Oh no. She doesn't have much in eyebrows, which would be more expressive. Actually, her bangs come down to here. I kind of. But, that's about it as far as the eyebrows go. Yeah. So anyway, I don't even know. I don't remember her getting all that agitated, but or maybe it was just a quick clip of her describing her husband or something like that. And the camera managed to catch her like, that man, something like that. Now, with the original haircut of Anne in the interview, I thought, because Diane is such a manipulator and whatnot, she's attempting to seduce this lesbian because she had that Duran Duran haircut, and that's what she thought. But little did she know it was just a bad haircut. Anne was like, "Oh, damn it," and that was it. But then she's like, yeah, men, who needs them and all that type of stuff. The problem is through her story, it's like she went through a lot of men. And it's kind of hard to believe you're over men when you keep going back. And, and that's exactly what she did. Over and over and over. But alas, it was all a wasted effort. I guess. I don't know. Maybe Anne is gay. Um, so, Diane Downs. But she didn't go down. At least, not in life, Well, she went to prison. It probably goes down a lot there. Because what else are you going to do? But and it's always these things. Like she's another one. I think Susan Smith did the same thing. I just wanted to kill myself. And it's like, well, what's the problem? Why didn't you? Yeah, they're not going to kill themselves. I mean, would you kill your most favorite person in the whole universe? No. So, not happening, man. Not happening. Jeez, I really did a bad job on Diane here. And I feel just awful about it. But it's what I got. My arm keeps rubbing the microphone. Sorry about that. Probably sounds worse on the other end than what I'm hearing. How is it doing that? Oh, that's what it is. I know. I'll roll up the sleeve. That way. Now it can't do it. There's Diane. She's like, mess with me. Why? What are you gonna do? I'll kill. That's what I thought. So she went through the usual story, and oh my God, he was abusive, and that's why I kept going back to him over and over again. And then, oh no, the boogeyman came out of nowhere, and killed our kids. And then that was it. she just, I just, I just figured they'd believe me. I always got my way. Not this time, Diane Downs. This time you're going down. Uh, well. Oh wait, I forgot the little earring. That's important. Um, Again, I don't know if she's still alive. Probably. Okay. Let's see. Maybe this. We'll do it all nice like. So I finished up a skeleton crew. And, well, it was the final episode. And so it ended. Overall, it was a cute little show. Not really anything worthy of my interest, but it's a Star Wars product that was okay, which is an amazing thing to say at this point because just about everything they do is horrible. Um, but it sounds like no one watched it. And it's just one of those things. It's like you keep producing crap and thinking you can make up for it later. Well, don't ever think that. Because by the time you get to this little show for kids and whatnot, there's no one watching it, because, yeah, you done fooled me. I'm not going for that again. And that was that. So it's that sort of thing. So it's rather unfair. And it was these poor kids, you know, they got all up in those suits and makeup and stuff and flew around on spaceships and it was all for nothing. Plus, there just wasn't a whole lot to it beyond just, well, the pirate guy wanted to find the secret planet, and they really didn't go into why the planet was secret overall, other than that's where the Republic, and I guess the Empire as well, uh, hid their Fort Knox. So, and that was the only reason they were there, and the people were led to believe they were making a better tomorrow or some crap like that, when basically their function was to just maintain the mint or something. I don't know why they had to be lied to that extent. But I suppose as if they ever got out, they wouldn't reveal what the planet was all about. Except that's exactly what happened with a bunch of kids. So they didn't really explain that. And then one of the things I thought, oh boy, this mysterious old pirate who obviously did make it to the planet because that's his ship they found. And one of the parents is the pirate. And I was thinking it was the little kid's dad or the other kid's mom. And then, the woman was disguised herself as a man and they could do all that kind of crap. But no, the old pirate is just forgotten about. So I think they wanted to do a season 2. I don't know if they're going to get it. And so maybe we'll delve more into the mystery in that one. But, oops, that was a mistake. But anyway. Take all these pencil shavings away. Don't bump the camera. All right. Touch this up. Move on to the other images. I don't need to see. I just ignore. Make sure all this is visible. Yeah, she didn't have much on eyebrows either, apparently. But still much more attractive, in my humble opinion. All right. There. Let's see here. Dominic, this racist crap should be Opie's intro. Yeah. It could very well be. Nodak123, hit the like button. That's right. Listen to Nodak. Nodak123, a little ditty about Ann and Diane. That's right. It's, well, a little doodle in this case. Well, a bit more than a doodle, but Nodak123, that's how most episodes of the Andy Griffith Show ended. Barney Fife would just sit in the holding cell with the suspect staring at them with his eyes bulged out until they got so uncomfortable. Well, yeah, that would work, wouldn't it? Nodak123, they'd confess because you just don't want to sit there and look at that. No. Kevin says, hit the like button on the YouTube side also. Yeah, good point, Kevin. Kevin also says, Diane has horse teeth. Yeah, kind of. I exaggerated it a bit. Didn't really capture her at all. Did a pretty good job on Anne, but again, I'm a little smitten. Kevin, Diane is now a carpet muncher. Well, she has to be. You know, she's gay for the stay. Nodak123, her last name matches how she looks in your drawing. Down. Nodak123, Downs is still alive. Had parole hearings in 2010 and 2020, which were both denied. She maintains her innocence in all parole hearings. She is 69. Nodak123 says, the picture you drew looks almost exactly how her Wikipedia page looks. It's uncanny. Well, it might be the same picture. I don't know. I just went through a search and found this one where she's making that look. Nodak123, wait. Diane is her middle name. Elizabeth is her first name. Oh, wow. I wonder if she just one of those people who just gave up their first name. She didn't like Elizabeth or something. It might be that kind of thing. It happens. Some people do that. But that might be the first sign of trouble. she's not comfortable with herself. And then she lashes out at others who are merely to be her playthings. You know? Something like that. All right. Let me see. We'll draw Anne here in this action pose. She's a journalist. She's chasing after Diane to interview her, you know. Maybe she had a Walkman listening to Duran Duran. And she's hungry like the wolf. Girls on film. Something, something. Girls on film. Something, something. As she's trying to keep up with this murder. Keeping Up with Murder with Anne Jaeger, I think her name was. Anne Jaeger. We go now to Anne Jaeger, who's keeping up with a murderer. Anne? Thanks, Doug. Well, here we are again with a woman who murdered her child. In the car. In the car? That's right, Doug, in the car. Oh, my goodness. I can't remember all the details. I think, so there was her husband who was the father of, he's the father of most of the kids. And then I think there was a boyfriend, and he didn't believe her either. Something along those lines. And I'm not entirely certain if this was another thing where the boyfriend is like, listen, I'm cool with messing around and having fun, but I don't want no kid. And so that was Susan Smith took that to, I got to get rid of these kids, which she did. But Diane just thought, man, these kids are just a drag or something like that, you know. I don't know. You never know with murderers, you know. I mean, sometimes you do. Sometimes it's kind of spells itself out. Like if she took out an insurance policy and stuff like that, then there's that, you know. And, wow, there's money in it. Other times, what'd you do that for? Well, I don't know. Or in this case, I didn't. Boogeyman did it, you know. The Boogeyman. I don't guess anyone's ever going to catch the Boogeyman, despite all he's done. keeps a lot of people awake at night, and stuff like that. And getting plenty of sleep it's important. I know, because when I don't get enough sleep, I get all sick and stuff. And sometimes I'm wondering, well, why? I went to bed in plenty enough time. I don't understand why I'm so exhausted. And it's probably that I did wake up a couple of times. And sometimes, I'll remember that I did. But other times it's possible. In fact, very likely that I woke up and was so and then don't really remember that I did that. But nevertheless, it happened. So I'm not fully asleep. So it doesn't count. So when I wake up, I'm like, oh, God, so hard to rise from the coffin and all that, So that could be the deal. But why did that happen? Well, Boogeyman inspired a nightmare. Yeah. I was scared. And I feel just terrible. So that's Boogeyman's fault. I mean, what if I was so tired that I fell asleep at the wheel and caused a horrendous crash, They're probably going to charge me with the problem, provided I survived. But I'm going to be like, yeah, well, the Boogeyman scared me while I was sleeping and I didn't get enough sleep. So how come he's not being arrested? Well, that's because they can never catch him. I mean, just talk to Diane about it. Yeah. But apparently, and until proven otherwise, there's no Boogeyman. No. But maybe one day someone will see. But even if they do, it's still gonna, yeah, okay, there's a Boogeyman, but Diane, you did it, all right? He didn't have anything to do with that one. Plus, Boogeyman would be, look, I just mess with people. I don't really kill anybody. Jeez. It was for a goof. It'd be something like that. I mean, I'm only guessing. Because I have to. I mean, until the Boogeyman is actually revealed, then we'll know. We'll all know then. Okay. I gotta move in on this with the camera right in my way. In the glare. Oh, this terrible glare. There's something about Diane I just don't get. That's right. I'm really very interesting. A lot of interviews with some of these killers, they'll talk like that, And all of it ends up being rather damning because they're, so into themselves. I'm a very interesting person. I'm not like other people. That's right. You're not. Being interesting is not always a plus. Sometimes You just want somebody to be as boring as shit. I mean, especially when your choice is boring as shit or murder. Yeah, gotta go with boring. I mean, sure, she's really boring and not all that exciting and all that, but at least she, doesn't kill the kids. What more can I ask for than that? Please, please tell me now. Please, please tell me now. Is there something I should know? Do you feel the same? Cause something, something. I can't even remember. So sad. It's like I can't get the mouth right. I have to do the details, but it's like it's smaller than that, and yet it's like her entire all her gums and teeth are in it. I mean it's even in the big drawing, I really didn't get it right. Oh well, who cares? Anne's the pretty one. Uh, where's my fine? There it is. Oh, usually gotta dig through it all. Let's see here. I think there's been a few. Well, it's not going to let me do it. Weird. Why does it do stuff like that? I'm trying to scroll through the chat, the one I have in the studio, but it's not letting me do it. Crap. Anyway, Kevin said the boogeyman lives in my basement. Well, okay, but as soon as he's late on the rent, kick his ass out. Nodak123 Boogeyman would explain. You have me all wrong. I'm the boogie, as in dancing man, not boogeyman, the scary guy. I get mistaken for that jerk all the time. Well, that could happen. But then he would have to actually dance and show that he's really good at it. And when he sucks, they're going to arrest him. Nodak123, are we sure she wasn't actually blaming KC and the Sunshine Band? They do sing I'm Your Boogeyman. That's right, they did. They're the ones who did that originally. Although I did like the Rob Zombie take on it. Yeah. Kevin, another Duran Duran song that would fit this story is No, Notorious. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, that one. Wasn't that like their last album? Can't remember. They did a pretty good James Bond theme with A View to a Kill. That was pretty good. There was one, damn it, what was it? Lonely in Your Nightmare or something like that. Every now and then, they actually did pretty good. That was a big deal in the 80s. And then suddenly it all came to an end. Like everything else, you know. I think that's, Notorious. Is that Save a Prayer for Me was on that one. Something like that. Girls on Film was catchy and pretty good. Rio was one. Well, I guess that's about it. I can't remember. Oh, wait, yeah, they did do a song about Barbarella because the Duran Duran name is based on the character Dr. Duran Duran from the Barbarella. I guess the comic strip and the movie. I don't know. Probably the movie inspired them. That Jane Fonda did. Yeah, the Barbarella movie that Jane Fonda did was one of two science fiction spectaculars in theaters at the time. The other one was a little film called 2001: The Space Odyssey. Both science fiction films. Oh, yes. But in their own unique way. Yeah. Now, Barbarella, supposedly, and boy, do I hope this is true, they're going to revisit that. Now, say, they're remaking another. Well, yeah, kind of, but it's based on the comic strip of Barbarella. So it's like this well-established character from another medium. So theoretically, you could do Barbarella movies like you do Batman movies all the time, or James Bond and stuff like that. It just never took off. But this one, supposed to star Sydney Sweeney. Now, wouldn't that be nice? I would say so. Ever in all those Barbarella costumes, or not. And that would be a cool movie to at least have something nice to look at. So hopefully that happens. You know, going through this dearth of films that did nothing but lecture us and whatnot from the woke era, it would be nice to get a film that shows us what we really want to see. Beauty. The type of beauty we never really get or achieve, but you can see it there on the screen, bouncing around. I don't think that's asking too much. No. It's really greatly appreciated, you know? All that stuff about, hey, I just want to see myself. I have never wanted to see that on the screen. I just don't understand people who just you're as much into yourself as Diane here, you know? I mean, I think they did they did. They do a movie on Diane's story, or maybe it was more of a fictionalized version, but it was Farrah Fawcett played Diane. Well, she must, of course, it depicted her as guilty, you know, obviously, because she is. So she probably didn't like it, but still at the same time, she's like, well, of course, they got Farrah Fawcett to play me, you know. But that's one of the sad ironies of the world. Farrah Fawcett is long dead, but Diane's still alive. Stuck in prison at 69. Giggle. Giggle tee hee. All right. Okay. Jaeger gets the story. The stories you need to hear. Well, maybe. I don't know. Jeez. Kind of missed a lot here. I'm going to have to go over that again. Boom, ba, ba, boom, ba, ba, boom, ba, ba, mow, mow. My heart is on fire. Fran Jaeger. Kevin, Lonely in Your Nightmare, 1982. Yeah. If you're lonely in your nightmare, let me in. Why? Why you want to come into that? Kevin, shout out to the Gen Xers. Yeah, that's what I am. Nodak 123. They also had the song. Oh yeah, the Reflex. The Reflex. Something. New Moon Monday. Yeah. Nodak 123. Small Sacrifices. A true story featuring Farrah Fawcett and Ryan O'Neal. Oh, her boyfriend Ryan was in it. I can't. Oh, did he play the husband in that? Because I can remember bits and pieces of it. I remember her. She got arrested and they're taking her away. She lost trial and everything. And she wore this outlandish outfit with these hip boots and everything. And she tries to seduce the police detective. And she says, "You ever see anything like this?" He says, "Not since Batgirl," or something like that. Well, it didn't work. She had to go to prison. Nodak says he was Lou Lewiston. Okay, I don't quite recall who that was. But damn it, why is this? There we go. Man, I really messed up here. I mean, let's see. This one, that's the detailed one. This one, no, that's too thick. That's the regular. But that might have been the one. I think was after Farrah Fawcett did the Burning Bed movie about this woman who murders her husband, and they later exonerated her because they said his abuse of her was so bad. But yeah, he came home drunk and was passed out in the bed, and she just set the bedroom on fire and took the kids and left, And they made a case. So I said, well, he was battered and all this stuff, and there was, a witness that the guy would beat her up and stuff like that. So they said, all right, let her go, And so they did this movie, and of course, Farrah Fawcett did that, and she got some amount of recognition for her acting prowess and that sort of thing, rather than being the Charlie's Angels girl and that sort of thing, which is, it's hey, that's what she did to get her start and all that, but she was time to move on to real roles in TV movies, and so she did that. What else did she did? I think she did one with Jeff Bridges that wasn't too bad. Some sort of murder mystery thing. But that was a theatrical release. Trying to think, there was something else. And then, I don't know, things kind of slowed down or whatnot. Eventually, she got cancer and succumbed to it, unfortunately. But she had a good run there of serious acting. Damn it. Screwed that up. Now, that's the danger. Of course, Photoshop can fix it, but I would rather it didn't happen in the first place. But I have to do this while coming at it from around the little snake thing that holds the camera in its place so that you can see it. Yeah. Without which, there's no stream thing. All right. Well, that's about right. Diane doesn't need much here this time around. Okay, well. There you go, Diane. God, everybody treats me like I'm some kind of monster. Jeez. You make one mistake and all right, there's our ladies. So I will, well, let me read a few more if it'll let me. No, it's not going to let me scroll up. Weird. That is bizarre. Anyway, Nodak 123. Oh, never mind. Lou Lewinston is a man who has an affair with Diane. That's according to the description of the movie. Kevin, yeah, I remember that movie, The Burning Bed. That's right. Kevin, you should watch Farrah Fawcett interview with David Letterman. She was on drugs or something. Yeah, well, it happens, you know, Hollywood stars and all that. Nodak 123 seems like a made-up character, so Farrah's boyfriend could be in the movie. Oh, yeah, probably. So it was based on the Diane Down story, I'm thinking, but more fictionalized than actual adaptation of real life events. But then again, they always get around that sort of thing and just say based on a true story, like The Exorcist and Amityville Horror. You know? Hey, it's based on it. People said stuff like this about it. So, you know, you can get away with a lot that way. I didn't say it's exactly word for word what happened. I'm just basing it on events that some people said happened. Well, good enough. Anyway, there we go. That's our girls for tonight. I will take a break and put them in Photoshop and see what we can do with that. Won't that be fun? I think it will. I mean, I hope it will, because that's what I'm going to do. So, man. All right, we'll go with this. These trailers you can watch at your leisure as I prepare the Photoshop segment of the show. Be back in a bit.
Prison as a place of punishment.
Caged heat.
Enter the female jungle of Women's Prison, USA. A seething hell of steel and stone where bodies behind bars ache with hunger for a man. Any man. Where caged passions ignite in carnal confinement and explode into violence.
We have a violent sorority here. Very strong ways of dealing with it. You're in a house of desperate women here. And a long, long way from home.
You can't do this to me!
Caged heat. It must explode.
About to get it, Tate. Oh. Knock your pretty little teeth so far down your throat you're gonna get a picket fence around your asshole. I'm pretty good at this. Come on there.
Behind walls of concrete desire.
You! Okay, buckaroos, get him up!
Hold on!
Damn it, I told you I wasn't going back in there! I said hold it!
Getting in was easy. Getting out was murder.
Breaking out of here, Belle.
My name's Crazy, honey. What's yours?
Bernice!
Two choices, Bernice. Do what we say starting now, or say goodbye to the world.
I'll take the first.
Raised by carnal confinement, gripped by prison pigs, torn by penal passions. Women without men in the cruelest bondage of all. If you could get in, they'd let you do anything. Caged heat, rated R.
Of all history's prophets, none has a greater degree of credibility than H.G. Wells. With his predictions of moon landings, ray guns, sonic signaling devices, is Wells right again in his prediction of dangers to come in Empire of the Ants? In this fantastic tale, Wells tells the chilling story of a colony of ants who feed on atomic waste, causing them to grow into large, voracious monsters.
God, let's get out of here, come on!
And these giant ants are actually able to control humans.
He needs us. That's why it has to be this way. Why we must obey. At first, the people don't understand. They must be forced into submission. After their indoctrination, they realize that the ants only want us to take care of them and work for them, feed them. That's the way it should be, for they are superior.
I mean, they don't want us to go that way, and they don't want us to go back the way we came.
My God, they're hurting us like cattle!
H.G. Wells' Empire of the Ants. For they shall inherit the earth sooner than you think.
Women who go to work need sheer pantyhose that don't gather around the ankles or sag around the knees. New Second Skin by Anderson. Second Skin are made from revolutionary bare lycra, so they fit like a second skin all day long. No matter how much bending and stretching your job entails, Second Skin, the first sheer pantyhose that really fit for working girls in any position.
The Crimson Cult. Hedonists of horror.
The devil is not exactly noted for his sense of humor.
A servant of man and the devil.
My brother stayed here, didn't he? What happened to him? Tell me what happened to him! Dead.
A journey into the unknown terrors of the world of black magic.
But we all know the subconscious mind can play strange, sometimes terrifying tricks. The living bridge between this world and the unknown.
Turn the witch! Turn the witch! Boris Karloff in his last and most diabolic role.
I've kept the negative of the prints.
Why do you want to do this, Dominique?
Don't let it worry you. You already have enough problems.
Thank you. Thank you, Dominique.
Sure, they're pure pornography, Commissioner. I do what I like when I'm at my place, don't you?
It was such a great pleasure that now you're coming back to pay me.
You pig!
Took them?
A man I met last week. He's real wild.
But what if he sold them?
That'd be great. What publicity?
Undress.
Better take her home. I'll see what I can find out.
Do you mind if I borrow this one?
My dear, it's yours. Take it, if you like it.
But where did you get it?
Yeah, that's enough of that. All right. Now I will move us over to my Photoshop. Yay. All right. There we are. Everyone should see that. Quickly here on you should okay. Made up character. Kevin asks, wasn't Ron Jeremy in Caged Heat? I don't know. Perhaps. Kevin, I bet Joan Collins was proud to be in that movie Empire of the Ants. Well, sure, why not? You know? Yeah. Anyway, so here we are. There's Anne. And there's the Diane picture. Yeah, I didn't really capture that. That's just, you know. But it goes off to the side and then juts out, you know. So it's kind of, and then I kind of forgot, yeah, her nose kind of wrinkles up here, but didn't get. But here's Anne. Now that, I just think that she's just lovely. Yeah. Well, anyway, that's them. So I guess I'll start with the larger pictures. Make this blank to fill in my mistakes. Okay. I really don't know entirely what her eye color is, but we're just going to go with blue. The same with Ian. Here, we'll do one of these numbers there. Wait a minute. Whatever. Anyway, let's see here. We got to go back to black. Back in black. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. No. All right, we'll just do it like that. I'm getting very tired and running low on time, so I'm going to have to go over this with a soft brush. But I got to admit, I'm not entirely familiar with Empire of the Ants. I'm familiar with War of the Worlds, Shape of Things to Come, The Invisible Man, The Time Machine, but not Empire of the Ants. But hey, maybe that's one they should remake, because remakes is all anyone can do these days, and this time really capture what the ants were trying to do. Because are they the monsters, or perhaps maybe we are? Oh my God! Whoa, yeah. That's something I never considered before. It's like every zombie movie. Even at the end of the world, the most horrific monster is man. Because people get desperate and they only look out for numero uno. And terrible things happen. And then the zombies come in and eat everybody. Well, hey, maybe we should have worked together to fight those off. Yeah, that was the plan, but I don't know. So we'll touch this end. Oops. Well, good enough. Hing, 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 hing. Hing, hing, hing. I wonder if that would be secure enough. Well, I guess I'll find out. Let's see here. Oops. Oh, yeah, I forgot. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. But I think Joan Collins did a lot of really crappy movies in that era. She wasn't the only one. Quite a few people did. But before she landed a Dynasty, And of course, that was in, I guess, Dallas really started the primetime soap opera thing of the 80s. And then there was Dynasty. And then Falcon's Crest. Didn't really. I did watch Dallas. Knew a lot about Dallas, but well, I mean, somewhat. I mean, it was Major Tony Nelson from I Dream of Jeannie and the Man from Atlantis, and they were brothers, And then they were the sons of Jock Ewing. But Man from Atlantis was the nicer of the two. JR was just absolutely horrible, which made him the more interesting, And old man Jock, I'm sorry, Miss Ellie. All I ever taught that boy was business. And so that's all JR cared about, was amassing power. Although, despite all the mistresses he had and stuff, Sue Ellen was the one he couldn't let go. No. Which, when she realized what a bastard he was, and well, they already had a child together, so it was like, well, kind of stuck. She couldn't leave. Plus, what was she going to do? She kind of liked the wealth and everything. And so she took to drinking, That's what she did. So she was kind of stumbling around. Damn it, Sue Ellen, get out of the room. That's the old Tony Nelson laugh. He would do that all the time when it was getting pretty close to everyone was going to realize that his wife, at first, just sort of live-in girlfriend thing, whatever, was a genie. And she could have just used her magic to make him forget every time they were found out, so that he could, be an astronaut. That's the only thing he seemed to care about. When you could have been nailing that. It was Barbara Eden in her prime, frolicking around in that suit. My God. I don't know, but I guess after she got a little older, he was like, hey, why don't you grant my wish of being an oil tycoon or something like that. And then that was it. Yeah. That's too bad. It ran a good long while. So again, Dynasty I didn't know much about. Falcon Crest I knew virtually nothing about. Although I think that's the one that starred Ronald Reagan's first wife. It's kind of the matriarch of whatever that was about. But again, I really didn't know much. And I don't know if there was any connection with Falcon's Crest and Dynasty, maybe. I can't remember. I know because Dallas tried to do a spinoff with Knots Landing. Because there was another Ewing brother who was even more pathetic than Man from Atlantis. And JR ran him off because he didn't want any, competition for his hold over the family fortune. Bobby, he thought he could undo because Bobby fell in love and married that Barnes girl. And of course, the Barnes family and the Ewings had this bitter rivalry, primarily because old man Barnes, I forget it, Cliff Barnes was the son, and then Pamela was the daughter, but the father had become this hopeless drunk, all because he had been in love with Miss Ellie, but his buddy and business partner Jacques Ewing swept her off her feet, and she's like, ah. So she fell in love with Jacques, and they got married. Well, Barnes never got over it and became a hopeless drunk, literally. And his son was like, oh, Dad wouldn't be a hopeless piece of crap if it wasn't for that damn Ewing family. So he carried on the tradition of hating them. And then come to find out that his little sister married into the family. You know, he wasn't too happy about it. And it's the one thing that he shared with J.R. Ewing, because he wasn't all that crazy about having that Barnes trash in the family line either. But Bobby was in love, so he had to put up with it. You know? So there was all kind of manipulations there. I can't remember. I think Pam was pregnant but lost the baby or something like that, and somehow JR, did she get thrown down the stairs or something? I can't remember. There's always something like that in soap operas, you know. Back and forth and back. Pamela, of course, was played by Victoria Principal. After that, she did like Jane Fonda and got into the leotard at workout video craze so that you could watch her shake her booty in tight fitting leotards and all that type of stuff. Now, look, they didn't have OnlyFans and stuff back then. They did have Playboy, so sometimes you could do that. But, you know, she wanted to be a bit more decent and respectful, even though I think she did do some pin-ups in her early days. But, you know, it happens. You do things like that. So anyway, they had a bunch of those. I guess like Jane Fonda was supposed to be the main one of the batch. I said, hey, we could gyrate around on these videos in these tight-fitting leotards and make it all about health and stuff. And, well, you know, and they were reaching the age of like, wow, I'm not getting any younger. Now, this is the last hurrah. And it was. But, you know, it did get a lot of girls to wear tight-fitting leotards. And that was nice. Doesn't really compare to the yoga pants thing, though. My God, whoever came up with that was a genius, you know? I mean, geez Louise. I never thought I'd live to see the day. But I did. Yeah. All right. Well, we got to do Diane. I know. Let's just get through this. Don't it make our brown eyes? Don't it make our brown eyes blue? Well, that's what Photoshop can do. See? Just like that. Probably all kinds of crap here not connected. Makes it all the more difficult. Oh, wait. Oh, I guess it is. Well, I don't have time to do it the other way, so all right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go again. Coloring a drawing from some shitty story. A shitty story from long ago. We don't have to do it all. We can just make sure we contain it. She must be contained. And she is. In that cell. Chained to heat, you know. But she'd want it to be a whole story of convicted of a crime she swears she didn't commit. Now she's locked in a sea of estrogen. Lonely, horny, and sweating all the time in the showers with other women. Hungry for a man. Any man. That's right. Even you. So you need to bring those trailers back because I could do the voice of all that stuff, you know. Caged heat. Chained heat. Canned heat. Captured heat. Heat. Just, you know, heat. I need to do one that's a Photoshop, you know, with pictures and stuff that would make for an okay video. Or, well, it's still a video. It's a stream. It becomes a video that's stored. It just sits here long after it's no longer live. But it lives on for all eternity. And for Wednesday comedy, it was either I was going to do another Green Goblin overview. But there's like Diamond Distributors just went belly up. I mean, they're bankrupt. And so it's kind of like news about the industry. And then there's Neil Gaiman, that whole creep story. So I'll probably just do that, like a news thing for it. And tape the Green Goblin thing a bit later. Oops, I forgot it was all the same thing. Shizniz. But it's one of those things. Hey, look, she says this happened, but there's an awful lot of him, you know, certainly trying to pay her off earlier on, and then other women say, "Yeah, that's the way he is," and stuff like that. And could be the case that there's smoke, yes, because there's fire. So, you know, don't do it, Neil. You may not like what, you know. But, yeah, he gets into he wanted the girls to call him master and all this type of stuff. It's like, jeez. But, of course, a lifelong male feminist. Yes, another one. And it's always got to be some weird crap. It can't just be like, okay, he cheated on his wife, something like that, with some other broad that he met who, you know, probably younger than his wife, but not that young. And becomes the new Mrs. Gaiman or something, you know, that kind of thing. And there would still be people like, that's not right. You cheated and all that kind of thing, you know. Sure. This is Much worse, yes. Yes, yes. But it had been talked about for quite a while, and there was people running cover for it. And well, finally, now I'm blanking again. Was it New York Times or New Yorker weighed in on it and said, huh? So, guess well, we can't run cover for this guy no more. So, hey, Neil, look, it's a bus. Oh, really? Really? Where? Right there. And they shove him in front of it, and that's that. But he was one of those British writers who became all the rage. Kind of more into the 90s for him rather than the 80s. Because you had, of course, Alan Moore and then Grant Morrison. And but Alan Moore was the top talent out of that group. But then Neil Gaiman rose to prominence because of Sandman and stuff like that. Well, all right, mostly Sandman. He was the one that followed Alan Moore on the Marvel Man series, became known as Miracle Man in the States because of, Marvel Comics pitching a hissy fit over the word Marvel and all that. But anyway, I've read some of it, and I was like, I wasn't all that impressed with his take on it. I mean, it's kind of the way Alan Moore did it. It's story's over by the time he's done. So I don't know if there's much else to do there. It's kind of like when you have godlike beings who can be God. And he kind of like, well, life on Earth is just not what it used to be. And that's about it. It's an interesting challenge. Can you write a compelling story set in those circumstances? And right now, I'd say the answer is no. But all three of them, surprise, well, they're artists and all that, and this always plays some role into that. There's going to be something a little off about them. They're all weird. I mean, I was going to say Grant Morrison tended to be a bit more theatrical about it, so how much of his weirdness is legit. But then again, there's Alan Moore, who thinks he's a wizard or some crap. They can't handle real life. You just stick to the work, and it is somewhat incredible, especially Alan Moore, that he was able to craft rather credible dialogue and characters within the stories, especially characters like Rorschach and The Watchmen is obviously someone that he would actually find repulsive and not want anything to do with, and was bothered by the fact that a lot of people, yeah, but he's the most interesting one. And it's not really saying you like the guy, would want to be around him, but he's the most compelling and interesting character in the story. Even though he's all messed up and really creepy and stuff. But that's to Alan's credit that he can craft that rather than I just can't. I have to see me in the story, that kind of crap. Which I don't know. He'd probably grab his ankles for that, like everyone else did in every other industry of art mediums. Yes. All right, the idea here. This one I did fairly okay for her, Diane. So, I need to make sure that everything is contained. But I guess as far as big success goes, you know, Alan Moore's at the top. Then you had Neil Gaiman, and then Grant Morrison. And a lot of that goes was just they had different takes and a different viewpoint on it, on the comic book superhero tropes, than the average writer did at the time. And so it all was like interesting and new and that kind of thing. But Alan Moore, he's the one who kind of introduced the whole concept of deconstructing the superhero. Now, he only did that really, I would argue, in only two books that he did, and that was, Marble Man and then The Watchmen. Was that sort of thing. And that's just, well, you know, what if they were real? And that's the first question asked, and the story attempts to answer how the world would look with that. And of course, you end up with, man, it's a good thing they aren't real. You know, things are so terrible with these people around. And especially with something like Marvel Man, where you have, it's not just the superhero, it's the supervillains as well. So it's, you know, and then of course, what's the point of being a normal human being when you're never going to be these gods flying around and stuff, and your significance is greatly reduced, if existing at all. And that was, hey, that's really depressing. Yes, it is. When superhero comics are just, you know, these power fantasies of seeking a justice against people who abuse power and are powerful and all that. And you're like, oh man, I wish I could do something, and feel helpless and whatnot. But in the escapism of the superhero, you can do something, because, you know, you can shoot lightning bolts out of your eyes or whatever. See, you screw with me and I'll zap your balls off with my vision. Well, then I guess I'll leave you alone. All right. Simple as that. But anyway, after that, he just did some, he was going to do one that I wish could have happened before he got really mad at DC Comics. He did this, and you can look it up online, because he confirmed it was the legit pitch, called Twilight of the Superheroes, which, and for a variety of reasons, the premise of it was interesting and cool, of course, and the outcome of it. Now, from the pitch, I didn't really get that, but in discussions of it, the idea that Crisis on Infinite Earths had happened, and so they had merged the DC universe from a multiverse. Yes, they were talking about that even back then, into one single universe. They thought that would make things easier and more approachable for new readers and that kind of thing. And you can understand the logic in it, but a lot of their brand had depended on that, because but they thought there was too much confusion where you had two different Supermen. You had a Superman based on how Superman was originally, and he was getting older and all this stuff. And then they had their mainline Superman, who was the modern take on him. And then they would have crossovers and stuff like that and meet. But I never really saw it as that complicated, because it was basically just two universes, you know. And I mean, eventually they would introduce others and stuff. They actually have way more now than they ever did then, which it's interesting. But anyway, that's what they did. They ended all that, and they merged it into one. And then after Watchmen, and there was talk of a prequel to Watchmen about the Minutemen that he was hemming and hawing about doing. But and then he did the what was called The Last Superman story, but they ended that iteration of Superman and began their new Superman after the Crisis on Infinite Earths type thing. And he got to do it, whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow. So he got to do that, but his next big project would be Twilight of the Superheroes. And this was about once again, a dystopian future where societies were in collapse, and the superheroes basically took over as sort of the royal families, but are gods really. And that was the situation. And there was a bit of a murder mystery in it. And the big reveal is at the end. And so a lot of similar aspects to Watchmen. But basically, Superman and Wonder Woman got married. They had kids. What was it? Was it Captain? One of the weird ones was Captain Marvel and Mary Marvel, his sister. Well, they got married. And I can't remember if it was their son or their daughter who was going to marry the son or the daughter of Superman and Wonder Woman. I can't remember exactly how that was going to go. But it was this idea that it was like royal families, and that by the two most powerful superpowered families were now going to be married into one another, and their ruling power would, be even greater together. So that's what they were going to do. And there was all kinds of stuff. And meanwhile, Batman was plotting against everything because humanity was no longer significant because of what the superheroes and the position they took. And so they're actively working against it. So on and so it was a long-winded thing because that's how Alan Moore does it. I mean, practically his basic pitch for a story is a novel in unto itself. It's just the way the guy was. So there's a lot of material there, but and I guess maybe I shouldn't spoil it, but the ending was really cool into how it happened, because the character of John Constantine plays a big role in it. And it's a funny way in which his current year self meets his future self from this world, and he's explaining what's happened and enlists his help on it, and realizes later that he was being manipulated by his future self in ensuring it or what have you. And but he figures out a way to outfox his future self and that sort of thing. I mean, I'm giving away too much stuff, but it was a cool pitch. But basically, one of the aspects of it was that once it was over and done with, it would reset the multiverse back. So they would have their worlds and stuff like that. Because a lot of the characters that were in the other worlds, they really didn't fit together with the other characters that were from the main. They had Earth 1, Earth 2. That's how they did it. And the Earth 2 people just really didn't fit, in my opinion. Never really did. In the same world with the others. So, and borne out since they eventually, for the most part, restored everything. So it's like, hey, dummy. Okay. Theoretically, since they do own that pitch, they could have gone and gotten someone to do it. But I don't think that would sit well. Certainly not with Alan Moore, but he's pissed off at them anyway. He got mad at them because they said, "Hey, we own the Watchmen. That's really ours. You're you're paid and you get your residuals, which apparently he refuses to this day or some crap like that. I think. Probably getting it wrong, but the problem is it's extremely derivative work in a lot of ways. And he initially was going to do, he wanted to do public domain characters because he thought it was important that they had an established lore to the characters, owing to the idea that these were guys from the past, and this is them today in their later years. Because the whole story is about getting old and that sort of thing. That's really all it is. But it's, you know, for superheroes facing, you know, midlife crisis and that type of thing. So it was originally, I think he wanted to do like some of the Archie characters, the red circle ones with, you know, the shield and Black Hood and all that. They couldn't do that. So, but DC had purchased the Carlton characters, and that includes the Blue Beetle and all the others, Peacemaker and Captain Atom and stuff like that. And the Question, who, of course, became the inspiration for Rorschach. So he was going to use those, and I think the original title was Who Killed the Peacemaker? You know, because Peacemaker gets replaced by the comedian character in Watchmen, and that would have been the title. So, you know, he said, "Oh, well, it's got kind of a ring to it." Rather than, well, a comedian died tonight, you know, which sounds like, oh, he bombed on stage or whatever. But no, he got beaten and thrown out of a window. So that's where they went with it. So he said, okay, we'll just make up our own characters based on these, and there'll be these knockoffs. So, all right, that's what he did. And for the most part, you know, the Question becomes Rorschach. Blue Beetle becomes Night Owl, so on and so forth. And but that's the extent of it. So there's still, you know, knockoffs, and the basic push of it is not so much their origin stories. I mean, the fact, you know, just like there's two Night Owls, you had an earlier version and then the later version who succeeded him. Well, it's the same thing as the Blue Beetle story. So, you know, even those aspects are still there. And Rorschach, it owes more to, you know, Steve Ditko made the Question character. So, you know, he's taking a nod at his ideas and his affinity for Ayn Rand and all that sort of stuff. Or Ayn Rand, however you say it. And that was what he was doing there. So he just sort of exaggerated the Question to the point that he becomes a guy like Rorschach. And sort of the objectivism and absolutism in his thinking and approach to the world. So, so by the time it's all said and done, you know, and DC's like, well, you know, it's our shit. Hey, look, we paid for the printing costs and all that. And we maintain control of it. And he never forgave them for it. When it comes to things like V for Vendetta, of course, it's very similar to Orwell type sentiments and stuff like that. But it is more of an original piece than Watchmen is. So it's probably a stronger case on that one than the Watchmen. But, you know, Watchmen became the bigger one as far as, you know, comic book Hall of Fame. And so, okay, so there's that case. Then they did this thing wanting to celebrate it. They had the movie that Zack Snyder did and all that. And they wanted to make more bank over Watchmen. Watchmen remains one of their biggest sellers. That's why it's still in print and that sort of thing. Because, well, why wouldn't it be? You know, along again with like Dark Knight Returns is the other one. You know, that follows up on that. So, which again, the same themes: getting old, twilight years, stuff like that. And so they had this thing. I think I'm already forgetting what it was called. Most of them I thought were all right. You know, Darwin Cook, who sadly is no longer with us, did the Minutemen take on those characters, and I thought it was really good. The others were just sort of okay. Surprisingly enough, the Rorschach one I really didn't think was all that. The Ozymandias one was interesting, but its basic selling point was it had Jay Lee's art in it, which was just absolutely spectacular. You know, so doesn't really matter that the book doesn't really go anywhere all that much, but it just looked really good. But none of them I saw is destructive to the overall business of Watchmen. But nevertheless, you know, Alan Moore, no, it's mine. I don't know what you're doing it. Well, they did it anyway. And a big thing of it at the time was he had been doing a comic book series called League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And basically, he was doing a sort of superhero take on classic tales from the likes of H.G. Wells, like War of the Worlds characters. Invisible Man was in it. You had Mina Harker from Dracula, all this stuff, and they all crossed over and formed this team and everything. And yeah, that really was the vision of H.G. Wells and Bram Stoker and stuff. It's like, no, it wasn't. You know? And he would make these things about, he was all upset about them doing a prequel series over Watchmen. And I think he made the comment of, well, no one wanted a prequel series of Moby Dick or something like that. Now, first of all, the idea that he's in the same league as the likes of Herman Melville's classic and all that, well, it's a bit dubious, don't you think? But at the same time, he's undercutting his own argument when sure, those guys are dead, but still it's their work that he just took for his own take of this idea of those characters living in the same world and meeting and all that. It was a lot of other interesting stuff he did with the series, but still the actual premise of it goes against what he claimed. Oh, well, it's okay to do it to them, but not me, you know? So it's one of those fine examples of someone can be brilliant in their field and other matters of that, and then complete morons in elsewhere, or very childlike, you know, throwing tantrums and whatnot. And I'm afraid that's the case, you know. But I mean, you know, the simplistic answer is, well, he got screwed by the corporation and all that, you know. But they're business, and nobody sees the book without them. So and again, basically knockoffs of characters that you originally wanted to use that again were not yours, and all that. So, and I mean, he's had advantages and deals the likes of which most comic book artists and writers and what could only dream of. You know, they just would never get it. But well, he didn't get his way. in Watchmen, its strengths are more in its structural presentation, which owes a lot to the artist as well, and how it's crafted. Of course, it's not to take away from Alan Moore. A lot of that is him, you know. And I mean, like I said, his pitch is like a novel into itself. So I can only imagine the difficulty and madness of having to pour through what he did for Watchmen. But basically the plot and stuff is kind of, it's all right. You know? But it's the atmospherics of it and the storytelling structure of the panels and how that reflected through it was all very innovative. And they managed to do that for 12 issues. So a year run of that series, there's no way you could maintain that like an ongoing thing. A lot of people say, oh boy, it really changed the industry and everyone did dark and gritty, realistic stories and stuff. It's not really true. They just did a lot of violent material and stuff like that, and some amount of adult themes, but none of them were on par with what of just the basics of how storytelling was presented in Watchmen. After all that, and after his, that came later with League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but he would just take work here and there with Independence, and he ended up with Rob Liefeld's Superman knockoff character, Supreme, and he wrote it like a Superman comic, and it's probably one of the best Superman comics of the time. And it's kind of sad that didn't get to continue, but a lot of things that his approach to it was a lot of ideas about how you would approach a Superman title, despite the era that he inadvertently gets blamed for of the dark, gritty characters, which Batman fits into, but Superman really doesn't. But he came up with all these ideas about this fascinating world that the Superman character lives in and all that type of stuff. So everything was a bit of a feast of elements and whatnot to look forward to beyond just, the big strong guy and the cape saving the day stuff. But it all came to an end. After that, he did Tom Strong and all that stuff, and it was all cool. Promethea was blessed with the art of J.H. Williams that he did, but basically all that is just a tour of Alan Moore's fascination with magic and all that type of stuff. But an interesting exercise nonetheless. Oh, yes. Yes. All right. Perhaps this, perhaps that. Sometime later, I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah. So Grant Morrison got to do this series of, because he just never gave up on the multiverse. And eventually they said, yeah, Grant, it's back, blah, blah, blah. And he did a series called Multiversity. So it was a bunch of one-shots based in different worlds, each one different. And he got to a world where the Carlton characters are still in their own world. So there was no Justice League and Superman and all that. It was just them. And he crafted it like the Watchmen, which was, I always thought would be a cool idea to do. for those characters, and I do think they belong in their own world, not in with the DC Comics characters, because they're just, it's just kinds of, it weakens them. They don't really have any means by which to stand out in something like that. I mean, if you're living in the world with Superman, you're pretty much like, well, you know, I do my part, but, well, let's call Superman. You know, that's basically, you know. So he did that one, and I thought it was pretty good, but some just said, oh, that's him sticking it to Alan Moore because they don't like each other and all that. But I was like, well, it's pretty good. Now, he only does it in one, but it is that sort of a take on time and the panels and how one leads to the other and how it ends and all this sort of stuff. Was very similar to the structure of Watchmen, and I thought he captured it fairly well. It was an interesting take on, not the sort of thing you could do in a monthly series. You'd go insane trying to do that. And perhaps he already is. Yes, much it's the only way they could do it. But yeah, Multiversity was just a tour of that sort of thing. But it was interesting. A couple of them were better than others. And then nothing ever came of it. Oh, wait, I gotta maybe do it like that. Okay. And we'll move that here. Do it like that. Do it like this. Well, whoops. How about this, huh? How you like them apples? Okay, yeah. Oops, oops, oops. Oops, oops, oops. Oops, oops, oops. Doot, doot. Well, all right. Okay. Yeah, I'm bad. You're making me look bad. I didn't do anything. I just asked you questions. You answered them, and I showed it to the world. That's what I mean. Hey. Oh. You showed them who I really am. That's what I do. And you're just mad because I'm prettier than you. And she is. What are you going to do? Oops. Oops upside the head. Say oops upside the head. Oops upside the head. Oops upside the head. Okay. Now, once you do that, you got to do the whole thing. But, you know. This was supposed to be a lot faster than I had anticipated. But I don't know. I started talking about Dallas and Falcon Crest and Alan Moore. Good Lord, how does that happen? Well, join us again next time as we do it all over again. But yeah, it's a damn shame that Twilight of the Superheroes didn't happen. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, they ripped it off for Kingdom Come. Kingdom Come has some elements of it, but it's very, very minimal. I mean, there's a whole, other aspect to it. And it wouldn't have been, it would have had to have been probably 12 issues of that for them to have done that story. Of course, I always thought Kingdom Come would have been better suited if it had been 12 issues rather than just the 4, but that would have been rather difficult for Alex Ross to paint that whole thing. We'll just say she has white pantyhose. Shit, where was I going with that? But yeah, it it's one of those moments in time, and it didn't happen, and that's just too bad. But following up, so obviously it is fair to say that Alan Moore was a big influence over that, and Alex Ross himself. And I mean, I know Mark Waid wrote Kingdom Come, but it was Alex Ross's pitch and everything. So and without his art, it really doesn't. Who would care? But Alan Moore was, had a huge impact on his thinking and approach to comic books and that sort of thing. So I kind of saw it as, these are people from the school of Alan Moore and that kind of thing. And one of them was Warren Ellis, who got Me Too'd. So I guess that's the last you hear of him. I don't know. Although he'll probably get some money if James Gunn's able to do his movie on the Authority, which is another one of these. They say, well, without Watchmen, there never would have been that, and there's truth to it, but not really the same thing. Jeez, what the hell happened here? I guess it just didn't merge that well. Yeah, we'll take care of that. How about that? There we go. Well, good enough. No one's going to know about this. Yeah, well, whatever. So there they are. There they are. The girls. Yep. A little doodle about Anne and Diane. What? I'm just prettier than you. Get over it. Okay, there's the bit that I used, my standard thumbnail. But now, after the fact, because this is live, so how can I have the thumbnail ready to go as it's supposed to be? Huh? I bet you didn't think of that. Well, I did, so you don't have to. Okay. Good Lord, she's huge now. So this time I will make the thumbnail that I will go in and put in for the archived video that you would be allowed to view at your leisure. Well, guess can't show them in there all together. No. So, bitch, keep your distance. All right. No, not that one. No, not that. This one, yeah. So, Mr. Nailsin, Miscellanea. It's a catch-all title. I think I'll just stick with that because I don't know what the hell else is going on. Let's see here. Title. Oh yeah, Anne and Diane. Yeah. Anne. Oops. Where is it? Oh, there it is. And Diane. Jeez Louise, I don't like the font. So we're going to fix that. Oh, yeah. I'm kind of liking this Hollywood Hill, SF Hollywood Hills. I don't know what that means. Oh, it doesn't have the N in it. Well, we can easily fix that by actually spelling out the term and there we are. Anne and Diane. Wonder if I could shrink this one down. Ooh, yeah. Maybe a little more. Eh? Nope. You bastard. All right, good enough. There we go. Yay, Anna and Diane together again. One more time. Do. One more time to talk about murder. Do. So there you go. There's, Anne and Diane. Pretty cool, huh? All right, not really, but yeah. Ron Jeremy did that one. I bet Joan Collins was proud. Well, maybe she should be. I haven't seen Empire of Ants. It might be brilliant. Kevin says Doug's got a crush on Anne. Yes, I do. Kevin, Anne Sue Ellen was a drunk. Yeah. She would just stumble around with a glass in her hand and fall down and stuff. Kevin, Barbara Eden was hot in her day. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Kevin, Jane Wyman, Ronald Reagan's first. That's right. That's who was in Falcon's Crest, I believe. Kevin, Gary Ewing was on Knots Landing. So, yeah, he was the other brother that they just threw away and ignored. Kevin says, you've got it down, Doug, on the Dallas TV show. Well, thank you. Kevin, Pamela got thrown down in the barn from the loft by, yes, that's right. And she lost the baby, yeah. Kevin, Victoria Principal Pamela had a nice right. Yeah, she was a pretty girl. Yeah. Kevin, Dallas used to come on Friday nights after Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah. Cute. We gonna get them Duke boys. Nodak 123. Even me? Yeah, I'm not getting that one. Damn, this chair that's not me. It's the chair. Well, I'm moving the chair, yes, but I know what it sounds like. Kevin, Doug, you should do voiceovers for movie clips. Yeah, I would, but we're in the age of AI, so yeah. There's already an AI Doug, which it's my fault. I volunteered for it. Yeah. Like an idiot. No, it's funny. It's fun to use. Anyway, Kevin says, okay, Doug, thanks for the company in the wee hours of the morning. See you next time. Well, thanks for showing up, Kevin. I appreciate it. And of course, Nodak and everybody else who stopped by. Of course, again, you can review this at your leisure. Why do I say it like that? So, is that a Kumia thing too? I've stolen? I think so. Damn it. Leisure. That's the proper pronunciation. At your leisure, you can watch this anytime you want. And it'll have this thumbnail on it by then. It will. Anyway, there we go. Geez, over 2 hours. And this was supposed to be the quick one. I don't know. I start yapping about all kinds of stuff. And where does the time go? That will be the epitaph upon my tombstone. Have a good one. We'll do it again soon. Thanks for watching.
It's Monday. It's Monday. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's Monday. Woo! So sick of this racist crap. This racist crap. This racist crap. I'm happy where I am, where everybody's miserable. I know how to do radio. 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 So sick of this racist crap. This racist crap.